Hey guys, I've filmed this video about 6 times now. This is my 7th time filming this video. So anyways, this video is a video that I've been needing to do for a very long time. People keep asking me, how do I edit my Instagram photos? And so instead of telling each and every single person, I thought it would be much easier and make much more sense to just make one video and direct people to this video. I have been on Instagram for about 5 years now. I have learned a lot about editing photos. They used to look horrible. Like, you can just scroll through my Instagram and enjoy the terrible editing skills. But I've learned a lot and I'm here to share that with you all. The 2 apps that I use mainly are Lightroom and Snapseed, and they are lifesavers. I'm going to show you how to edit 2 types of photos. The first one is actually a leg painting that I did on myself, but the editing I'm going to show you is editing that you can apply to just, you know, pretty much any Instagram photo. And the second one is a little bit more geared towards artists. It is how to edit a drawing on a white piece of paper, and this is very important because you don't always have the right lighting. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So I'm going to start with this one. The lighting was already pretty good, to be honest, so there's not much that needs to be done, but I will edit it to make it look better. So we're just going to crop it first of all, and then I'm going to go into Lightroom. Let's upload this photo. So I always go down to light first, and you have the basic like exposure, contrast, highlights, stuff like that. So honestly, just play around with them until you find something that you like. Make sure you don't overdo it. That's something that I used to do. I would definitely overdo the contrast. And then you can press and hold to see the before photo, and then let go to see the after. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit more advanced, go to the curve. And this is still dealing with like contrast and lighting, but it's a little bit more advanced and also has to do with color as well. So on this curve, I'm just going to show you like the basic edits that I do. I put an anchor point in the middle, right here and right here where those grid lines intersect. And then all I do is move this one up slightly and this one down slightly. And that adjusts the contrast some more. If you want to get crazy and experiment with it, you can like move these all over the place. And that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see. So anyways, I'm going to backtrack with that and just undo everything. And then I'm going to show you how to use these down here. So there's red, green, and blue. You have to know what their complementary colors are. Little lesson in color theory. Complementary colors are the colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel. So red and green are complementary colors, and the other color in here is blue, and yellow is the complementary color of blue. Nope, it is actually orange. My bad, guys. Okay, carry on. And so let me put my little anchor points on this curve. So when I move this top one up, it adds red to the highlights. When I move it down, it adds green to the highlights. So I'm going to move it up a little bit. And then the bottom one here, when I move it down, it adds green to the shadows. And when I move it up, it adds red to the shadows, if you can see that. I usually do it like this. So I made it brighter. I've added a little bit of color into there, and the color looks a little bit washed out. So I'm just going to go to color, make it a little bit warmer. Vibrance just kind of brightens the colors, and then saturation, we all know what saturation does. And also one more thing, I'm going to add it. I'm going to make it a little bit sharper, just a tiny bit. Before, and there's after. So that was a really, really simple one. So I'm done with that, and I'm going to save it to camera roll. Okay, now for the other photo. So again, I'm going to go to light first, and let's work with curves. I'm just going to go use the sliders to change it a bit more. I'm trying to make the light coming in look bright, but not like wash it out. before and after. It's looking good. And on this photo, I'm definitely going to use that red curve. Make it a little bit sharper. So before and after. It looks so much better. So now I'm going to move on to the drawing that's on white paper. I use both Lightroom and Snapseed for that photo. First, I always bring it into Lightroom just to even it out. Let's actually go look through these pictures. So I took 4 pictures of this drawing that I did. Usually I take much more than 4. All these kind of look the same. I zoom in to like check if the sharpness is all good. So the sharpness is fine in these photos. Because this one is closer, I think I'm going to choose this one. So let me just crop it. I always like to do my crops in a square, even though Instagram allows you to not use a square, because your account has the photos all in squares. And so I want the account to look nice. So I usually try to make the photo in a square, or at least close to a square. All right, so I'm gonna bring this photo into Lightroom. And as you can see, the whites are pretty dim, a little bit on the warmer side. So I'm gonna go to Light and do some adjusting here, try to make the photo a bit brighter. So now I'm gonna go to Color and see if I can change the temperature, if it'll help. And then maybe the tint. This is all I can do in Lightroom for this, although I am going to change the sharpness. So here's before, and here is after. So it's already looking much better, but I'm going to go into Snapseed and make it look even better. So the thing I love about Snapseed, it does let you do all the basic edits, like brightness and contrast, and all those things are right here in Tune Image. So you can just go through and like, you know, just edit it like you normally would. But the thing that makes this unique is that it has brushes, and the brushes are for dodge and burn, exposure, temperature, and saturation. I used to use dodge and burn to make the paper whiter. You can change the intensity of the dodge and burn. This will make it darker if you go negative. You just rub right there, you see it's darker. If you go higher, then obviously it'll just make it whiter. And that does work to a certain extent, but sometimes I was just finding that it really kept making my pictures just look too white. Like, it's easy for me to kind of go overboard with that tool. So if that works for you, then that's fantastic, but I found that exposure worked better for me. Alright, so my camera stopped recording, so that's fun, but I'm not stopping this video. So I'll explain to you what I did with the exposure as the screen recording is playing. I went in with 0.3 exposure, plus 0.3, and I went over the shadow that you see in the bottom right corner of that photo. I went over it multiple times because the next exposure up is 0.7, and that's just too much of a change. And so I went in with 0.3 like 2 or 3 times just to brighten it up and try to blend it with the rest of the whites in the photo. And then I went back in with negative 0.3 exposure because I had gone over the shadows a little bit too much, and so I brought those shadows back. So the picture is looking pretty good and evened out now. I also made the pencils a little bit brighter, and I'm about to go in with saturation to make the pencils a bit more colorful. All right, so tools, brush, saturation, and let's make the saturation 0.5 so it's not too drastic of a difference, and just go over it a few times, to make the saturation come out. And I apologize for the noise in the back. I'm puppy sitting, and he just never sits still, ever. I noticed a little dot in the corner. I'll just show you. You can do healing with this app. Just go in where there's like something you want to get rid of, tap on it, and it'll disappear. Okay, now this would be usually when I stop, but for the sake of this video, I will show you something that I sometimes do. I'm gonna get a photo that is a little bit too warm, and I'll show you how I get rid of that warmth. So first of all, I'm just gonna save a copy of this, and we'll come back to that in a second. So I'm going to just do some basic brightness, contrast, other like stuff like that. And now I use the brush and I choose saturation. And then I do -10 saturation, and I go over all of the paper that is supposed to be white, and I just make it not have color so that the warmth goes away. And you may have to go back into certain areas with the eraser just to bring the saturation back if you accidentally went over some parts that are supposed to be saturated. You're supposed to have color. Before and after, you can see that the whites noticeably become more white, and then you can do the whole exposure thing that I was showing you earlier. So normally I would continue with the editing process, but I already did that on the other photo, but just so you can see the difference, here's before and here's after. And that's all done using the Tune Image tool and mostly using the saturation brush and the exposure brush. And so lastly, I'm going to show you how I would edit it just to finish it up to post on Instagram. So let's do the picture I edited first, which was this picture. And this one is already pretty good, but I usually just do a few edits just, just because I can. And I almost always do sharpness, but again, not too much sharpness. Then I'll go to the next photo. This one is also pretty good already. And now let's go to our drawing, and I just want to make the color like pop out a little bit more. So I'm gonna do a few edits. So I'm gonna save that now, and that is ready to post. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope it wasn't too confusing. If it was helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and comment below what you thought. Also, which picture was your favorite? And if you do not follow me on Instagram, my Instagram username is thatoneartist. So hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more videos like these and also art vlogs. And I'll be back next week with another video. Bye!